sunrise in Rishikesh tells a story of people who traveled thousands of miles not to escape life but to discover it. Among them are Rohan MacLaren, once a successful fashion model from Australia, Tallulah Self, a young media professional from the United Kingdom, Krishnapriya Neonnan, an advertising professional from the United States, and Sadhvi Bhagawati Saraswati, a Stanford scholar whose life took an extraordinary turn after discovering India's spiritual wisdom. They came for a few days, they stayed to discover themselves. What did they find here that the modern world could not offer? They once lived lives many would envy: fashion, media, corporate success, academic excellence, busy calendars, successful careers, yet each carried the same invisible burden: a search for something deeper.
My name is Rohan MacLaren. Yes, Rohan is my birth name, given by my mother. I'm from Australia and I've been living in Rishikesh for about 5 years in total, although I've been coming to Rishikesh for the last 12 years. In Australia, I used to do many things. I used to be a fashion model, working on the catwalks of Milan and Paris and this kind of thing. I used to be on television, and I also used to work for the embassy of the government of Rwanda. So did international trade and investment and work with the diplomatic corps.
My name is Krishnapriya. I am originally from the United States and I am 59 years old. I've been coming to India since 2018 and I started living in India right at the pandemic, but then of course I lost about a year, but I've been here since 2020. And my original profession, I worked always in the health and fitness area, first working for sport nutrition companies, and then I went into the fitness magazines selling advertisements in Europe, and I was dealing with all of Europe selling advertisements to sport nutrition companies and clothing and any fitness related products.
My name is Tallulah and I'm from the UK, just outside of London. And my profession before I came to India and still now is a video editor. I've been in India almost 2 years now.
Some came for yoga, some came to heal, some simply followed curiosity. None imagined that a short visit would become a lifelong homecoming.
Coming to India, specifically Rishikesh, about 12 years ago, and what got me here was because I started a spiritual journey, started to learn to meditate, and started having some Kundalini awakening experiences. And these experiences shifted my perspective on life really rapidly. So I came to Rishikesh, and I came to ashrams to ask Swamijis, what is going on in my life, and please guide me, please help me. It was actually quite scary, the thought of coming to India and to stay for a long time. And initially, to try and get this anxiety away of, oh my gosh, I'm going to change my life significantly and rapidly, I said, okay, instead of saying that this is going to be forever, I will say, I will dedicate myself to the path of yoga for 1 year, 100%. I will give it all. I will practice truthfulness. I will practice brahmacharya. I will meditate, and I meditated 10 hours a day, and I did an hour of yoga a day. I said, for 1 year, I will dedicate myself completely. At the end of the year, I said, I can't just keep sitting alone. I need to actually put this into action, put this into service. And so as soon as I started thinking, and so I just continued taking steps, and 5 years later down the track, here I am, and Rishikesh is home, and this path of sadhana, of knowing myself even more, of becoming more peaceful, more full of love, more connected to this priceless treasure that this Sanatan culture has. The more and more that I anchor into that, the more and more I know that this is the natural unfolding of who I am. And so I'm so blessed to be here on the banks of Mother Ganga. I couldn't consider myself any less blessed and lucky to have this divine opportunity to be in Rishikesh, living this life.
The reason I stayed in Rishikesh is very different than the reason I came to Rishikesh. But the program that I wanted to do, I said I worked in nutrition, but I also am a singer. And I was looking for something to combine sound and mantra. And I found a program with a teacher, and she was going to be teaching in Rishikesh. And so that's why I came to Rishikesh. But I didn't know anything about Rishikesh. And I have not a story like Sadhviji, but I can tell you the first time I came here, I said, wow, this is the place. I just knew in that moment, within the first day, it just hit me just like the order to go to India was very strong. Getting here, the feeling that I had was, it's indescribable. It's just a clear knowing that this is the place that you need to be.
And when I came to Rishikesh, I just really fell in love with this place. It was everything and more than I could have imagined, and particularly Paramath-Nikketan, the ashram. I arrived here and I just felt so at home, and such a calling to stay here. And Rishikesh it's a very special place. It's like nowhere I've really experienced. The energy here is very powerful and very heightened, the spiritual energy. And obviously being on the banks of Ganga is such a blessing. And yeah, truly I've never experienced anything like it. And the people here are so wonderful, and everybody seems so joyful and happy and elevated. And it's just really such a privilege and a blessing to be around people on a spiritual path and be immersed in the teachings and the ashram.
No single event changed their lives. It was something more subtle, a feeling, a stillness, a connection, not around them, but within them. Their decisions surprised their families. Some worried, some questioned, some thought it was just a phase until they saw the transformation. They had never looked happier.
What did my family think in Australia? That's changed over time. Initially, when I came to India, this must have been about when I first decided to come to India in 2019 and really dedicate myself, there was fear. There was fear. They see that their child has come to India, is in ashrams, which is a very foreign thing for them, very in many senses, and that life is changing. And so the image that they had of my life, of being the son, living close by and having a family, that started to dissolve. And so there was a lot of fear of the unknown that was coming there. And so a lot of concern over the initial times. But I think the beautiful thing is that when change starts to take place, my parents now have seen this beautiful change that's taken place in me becoming more loving, more present, more able to help them. My mother, for instance, now is undergoing her own cancer journey, going through struggles. And so, you know, when she's feeling concerned or afraid, she will turn and call me. So I may not have in previous years been able to hold that kind of space where I could consciously help someone when they're going through a period of difficulty or struggle. And so it's beautiful now that I guess I can see that people see that I'm a safe space or a trusted space, or that they can turn to me in a period of challenge or difficulty, whereas previously that probably wouldn't have been the case.
Has changed in my life since I've been in Rishikesh, and I think it's actually only when I leave Rishikesh, when I'm in the US or back in the UK, that I realize how much I've changed. I think it's made me a better person in all ways. It's in all different ways. It's made me much calmer, much more peaceful, much kinder, much more selfless, much more giving. And the blessing of being around Sadhviji and Puja Swamiji, it's like truly inspires me just to do better and be better in all ways and to serve truly from my heart.
Ask them why they never left. Every answer is different, yet every answer sounds strangely familiar. Rishikesh feels like home. I stopped searching. My heart belongs here. This is where I meant to be. Notice what they never mention: money, status, success.
The very fact that Ma Ganga descends from Himalayas and enters into plains at the first point of Rishikesh makes it very significant. Also, the saints and sages of yore have practiced their austerities, penance at the banks of Ganga Ma to make their life purposeful, to know the self, and that's the reason Rishikesh has been attracting people from all parts of the world who are real seekers of truth to this place. Ganga Ma gives so much solace to the tiring soul that people like to sit on the banks of Ganga. Rebhu Rishi had conquered his senses, his mind, by practicing tapasya at the banks of Ganga here in Rishikesh. And he had asked for the boon from Lord Vishnu, who appeared here in Rishikesh, that he stays here forever. And it is said that Lord Vishnu resides in Rishikesh, is a sacred land where people have been able to conquer their mind, their senses. So the seekers of truth, they feel that if they come and do penance, austerities, if they observe certain self-restraints here in Rishikesh, they will be granted the boon of immortality. So that's the reason I think people have been coming to this place. All those seekers who want self-realization, they find the place soothing, calming to the mind, and having a lot of positive vibes for the sadhak to concentrate and focus on their minds.
India's greatest influence has never been built on wealth or military power. It has been built on ideas, yoga, compassion, inner peace. a way of living that continues to inspire millions across cultures. Today, Rishikesh has become a global crossroads where East meets West, not through commerce but through consciousness.
I came to India 30 years ago at the age of 25. I had everything that in the West we're told you need to be happy. The money, the privilege, the education, the opportunity. I grew up in Los Angeles, quite literally in Hollywood. That's why the title of my book is called Hollywood to the Himalayas. Literally, I come from Hollywood. So I had everything. I graduated from Stanford University. I was in the midst of getting my PhD in pediatric neuropsychology. I was a scientist, I was an academic, as you say, I was right on the path to having all of that success. But something was empty inside. Something very big, very obvious. And it's something that I've seen everybody who isn't connected to culture and dharma and spirituality faces. But I didn't know that. I was not a religious person. I wasn't even one of those people who say, well, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. I was a scientist, I was an academic. But this is the grace of Ganga. This is the grace of our Sanatan Sanskriti. Rishikesh was the first place we came. There was no Google in those days. It was September of 1996. I had a large Lonely Planet guidebook. Opened the guidebook and said, Rishikesh. But ऋषिकेश में आए, माँ गंगा का दर्शन किया और in that moment गंगा ने मेरे दिल को, आत्मा को, सब कुछ को ऐसे खींच लिया, grabbed me, grabbed my life, gave me such a divine experience, ऐसे अनुभव that I knew this is my home. I knew कि सचमुच I had come home to my own self. I had come home to truth.
Rohan came for meditation and yoga. Tallulah came searching for meaning. Krishnapriya arrived with questions. Sadhvi Bhagawati discovered her life's calling. Different journeys, different continents, one destination, Rishikesh. In a world racing towards more, they found enough. Perhaps India's greatest gift to the world is not simply yoga, it is the possibility of inner transformation.
माँ गंगा में अपनी इतनी बड़ी शक्ति है, वो खींचती है, वो सब नदियों की तरह नहीं है. मदर गंगा इज द एम्बेसडर ऑफ ऑल द रिवर्स. फिर इसके तट पर हजारों वर्षों से, चारों युगों से करोड़ों करोड़ों लोगों ने साधना की है, लाखों ऋषियों ने तपस्या की है. तो वो तपस्या का जो प्रभाव है वो इन तटों पर आज भी है. वो जो वाइब्रेशन वो आज भी है. हसल एंड बसल बढ़ गई, बिल्डिंगें बढ़ गई, बाजार बढ़ गए, बड़ी बड़े भवन बढ़ गए, लेकिन वो वाइब्रेशन आज भी यहाँ पर विद्यमान है. तो ये जो वाइब्रेशन है ये उनको खींचती है. और यहाँ पर कुछ ऐसा है जो पूरे विश्व को खींचता है और खींच के लाता है. और व्यक्ति अनुभव करे. To me, Rishikesh is not the place to see. There are many places to see all over the world. But Rishikesh is not only the place to see. You go for visit, you go for sightseeing, but Rishikesh is the place to be. How to be here. How to be in life.
Thousands visit Rishikesh every year. Most return home carrying memories, but some stay behind carrying a deeper connection. Their journeys remind us that in a world obsessed with speed, success and achievement, people are still searching for something timeless. And for many of them, that search ends here on the bank of Ganges. For India Abroad TV, this is S. Raju in Rishikesh, India.